guys. We are back for episode 10 of Survivor 41. Another great episode. And
so many emotions.
It's
I went through a little roller coaster on this.
This might be the biggest blindside of the season so far. Like there's constant blindsides, I will say, but like,
and it's like that's all we wanted on this past season of Big Brother.
Yeah.
So the fact that we get it so much on this is just like,
I'm like kind of shook.
I'm just like, so thank you. I needed this. Thank you.
It's also just like, I will say this: the shock wasn't like at Tribal. It was like halfway through this episode, you're like, oh fuck.
I was like, oh damn, that's where we're going with this. I was like, okay. So, anyways,
it starts. We come off the previous Tribal Council with a double elimination with Nasir and Evie.
Yep.
Which again, they make a return at Tribal Council, which I guess is like a thing.
That's the
I
thing.
didn't know
that
was
get
like
to
a
watch,
thing.
So.
And like they have like little comments and stuff.
Yeah,
like they're not like interviewed or whatever, but
no, but they let them see and they have opinions about it for sure.
We basically get some talk on who the next target's gonna be, and
from Danny. Danny's the spearhead, but Danny was spearheading it.
Danny was the first one to mention.
First to mention it, and then
getting out Ricard, and
then they were like really about it, and they were like, but we can't tell Shan because
we can't tell Shan, so we're gonna pull in Liana, and they tell Liana, and
they
immediately
didn't realize
Liana's
that Liana
like
was
super close to Shan,
way closer to Shan than I think they knew, or else they wouldn't have done that.
And
they wouldn't have told her at all, but they kind of needed her vote. So.
I mean, they're not gonna tell Ricard, so I feel like because Ricard was on her tribe previously, maybe they thought maybe Liana isn't. They also didn't know they had that moment alone.
True.
So
yeah,
I think Liana was like, I guess the better choice if they were gonna mention it, but it ended up backfiring obviously because Liana ends up going to tell Shan, like,
and then Shan surprised me and like
telling Ricard,
and then Ricard's reaction surprised me, and then what he chooses to do surprises me.
Ricard basically hears this information from Shan, and Shan kind of is like, it was like kind of weird of like, she's almost apprehensive to be like, I don't know if this is the right decision, like I could not tell you, but like I'm going to tell you anyway. And Ricard's like, I'm like shocked that you're telling me, and Shan's like, that's weird that you would say that.
Yeah, it was
like
a weird interaction. Like I thought he was gonna be like, damn, thank you for telling me. Like, yeah, no, he was like,
but instead he was like, you're telling me this? And I think that was Ricard processing like, I need to get Shan out. Like, this is way too close of a call.
Yeah.
And this is also before the immunity challenge.
Yes. So
and this is right after he won the reward challenge, which was like a pillow? It was like a bunch of like... No.
The reward challenge? They got to go to like a luxury like spot to stay and have pizza.
Pillow. I don't know why pillow was in my head. I was like, they get like a nice pillow to sleep. No, it was pizza. And Ricard got to pick Shan, Xander, and Heather.
Yeah. And his reasonings for all of them were smart. And I was sitting there like, if he doesn't pick Shan, he's gonna fuck up.
Yeah.
And he did. He wasn't stupid.
Ricard is playing so well. Like,
so good. And then I was like, so I was loving him. And then when he reacted to her like that, I was like, wow, I was actually proud of Shan for like doing that. And I was like, okay, great. They can work this out. And then he was like, she told me she was loyal to me. She's got to go. I was like, what?
It was more of like at the like pizza like social thing that they had, like the reward. They had like a little conversation that was a little tense of like, you know, we're gonna have to get each other out eventually, because like typically from Shan's perspective, she's like, men beat the women at the end of this game. Like I can't take you. And Ricard's like, yeah, I know. And
they had never solidified a final two, and they both knew that. So it was a very like
awkward, intense conversation.
And
of,
like we're loyal to each other, but we're not, and then we have to realize
it's also just like talking about that to your, I guess, number one that's unspoken. It's like it was a little awkward.
It was interesting.
So then when we get like a confessional from Ricard, he's like, Shan basically told me this information that Deshawn and Danny are plotting to get me out with Liana, and I think there's going to be a time where I need to take Shan out, and I think today is the day I need to vote her out.
And I did not see that
coming.
I was
like, whoa.
I was like, wait, what?
I was like, okay.
And then I was like kind of mad for a second.
I was mad. I was like,
rude.
Ricard.
She just had your back.
Yeah.
Like,
but I feel like Ricard, again, this is me trying to read into his mind.
When you said this, I said, oh, okay.
This is like,
okay.
Shan is smart enough to
do that, to keep using him in her pocket too a little bit.
That, and also, I think Ricard seeing that Shan came up to him
and that she had all that power.
She could have very easily turned it and not said anything. And I feel like Ricard got scared and was like, that was too close of a call because, like, I had no clue.
And she's more than
thankfully you told me, but it's like, now you have to go. Like,
yeah, because
which I understood
you're
more.
connected
I'm like,
with all these people and you're kind of leading
the fact that that whole conversation happened with every other one on my alliance, even if you didn't have any intention of, like, doing it, that's way too scary for me, and, like, you need to go. And
then I think he was just like,
it'll be easier to manipulate Danny and Deshawn than it is to flip Shan, because we've already seen how that's gone for Deshawn.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true. I don't know. I feel like you said, he was thinking very long term with that decision.
Blindsiding her, flushing out the idol. That's another thing, because now Xander's the only one without an idol.
Yep.
And it basically, so that whole situation happens, and
I was like, damn. And then I wasn't sure he was going to be able to make it happen, and so then I thought that Deshawn was going to go. And I wasn't
we're
happy
skipping
with
ahead,
it, but I was kind of like, I could see that.
So the original plan was to get out Ricard. Then the immunity challenge happens,
and Ricard won.
This was a good competition. It was
good.
Like you had to balance like a little like ball on like a little like platform,
and you hold the stick
while you're sitting on like a slanted beam that constantly is getting smaller,
and you have to move your hand down on the stick, which I also thought they were gonna have to do balancing the ball. So I was like, they're all gonna drop so fast. But then when that didn't happen, I was like, okay, that makes more sense. This makes this more of a longer competition.
Liana drops pretty quickly, Danny drops pretty quickly, Heather, and then the second round, Erica drops, Shan drops, and then we're down to Xander, Deshawn, and Ricard. And I'm like, this is either gonna go to Xander or Ricard, because I knew Deshawn was probably gonna. I just felt like
I wanted him to. He seemed so focused, but I just didn't think it was gonna happen.
I feel like Deshawn's luck is gonna kind of just. He's gonna just miss, because the same thing happened last week.
Yeah,
with
that's what keeps
Xander.
happening. He's so
and I'm like,
close.
I feel like he's going to constantly be getting second. He might pull through eventually, but
it just seems like a pattern.
Ricard and Xander are beasting these competitions of like, this is now Ricard's second immunity win,
and he just
solo.
Won. Yeah, but then he also just won
the reward challenge.
Like, he wins a lot, and Xander wins a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
And
forces to be reckoned with.
Xander, again, is still the only person now that has an idol, because Nasir and Shan are now evicted.
Well, at this point, Shan's not gone yet. So what happened after the immunity challenge was that Erica and people were trying to rally. Shan was trying to flip it on Erica.
So basically, Ricard wins safety, and Deshawn is basically like, well, that's worst case scenario. So now, Ricard already had like his whole thought of like getting rid of Shan, and he goes up to, you know, Erica, Heather, and Xander, basically like the people not within like the alliance, and is like, we need to get out Shan. Like, it's do or die right now. Like,
and I think that is almost a decently easy thing to
propose,
because she is very dominant.
Very dominant. She has an idol, and if she doesn't see it coming, she's not going to use it.
Yep.
So I think this was like a golden opportunity in retrospect. Like in the moment, I was like, Ricard, come on! Like,
I was like, damn, you
and this
can
is
give
just
it a
like
couple more
another.
weeks.
This is like, I finally was like appreciating Shan. Like, I will say, in retrospect, Shan played super hard, and I can commend her for that.
And made it a lot longer than you would assume someone playing that hard would, because she slipped up a lot.
Yeah.
But somehow made it work. Like, they somehow still fell
not
for it.
Like the cleanest game player, but like also like some of her moves were very impressive to pull off, and like even shocked me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? That's very impressive. And I really liked her and Ricard together. They're kind of like budding. Like,
they're like, I don't know. Like,
it's just such
like
a good
Evil
duo.
Dick and Danielle.
Of like people who
really don't
realize
with each other, but they knew they needed each other.
June and Allison.
I was just gonna
like,
say that.
They know that the other one is probably going to beat them if they win at the end. So like,
I'm probably gonna have to cut them eventually. It's
but
probably
right
not
now
best
we're
to
working
go find
together.
two together, so that type thing. But like, we need each other because everyone else is gonna gun for us anyway. So now we need to team up. And so,
and the fact that they're from the original team and they were able to like outmaneuver everyone on their tribe.
I was like,
well, everyone else was just chilling. Yasuo and Lubu were like, "Oh, you guys have 2 people left. All right,
that's crazy. You guys are still here?
Yeah, I'm like,
got rid of all y'all.
Jesus Christ." So, then the plan kind of gets told to Erica, and Erica's the one that's like, "Okay, here's how we're gonna do this. We're gonna pin 3 votes on." Liana. I was gonna say Eliana for some reason.
I don't know why you would say
for that. 3 votes on Liana, 3 votes on Shan, because Shan and Liana are gonna vote for Deshawn.
So we got to make it a tie.
So we have to make it a tie
vote between them, and then we get rid of Shan.
Yeah.
And that's basically what happened.
Yeah. The only reason they did that is Erica smartly was like, in the event Shan catches wind, it doesn't matter because we're gonna flush him out the first time, and Liana will go.
Yeah.
Or she won't catch wind and she goes after the tiebreak.
And then it's crazy because her being that smart almost worked against her because then everyone was like, yeah, maybe Erica is a threat. Not everyone. Like Danny and Deshawn were like, maybe we should keep.
They highly considered getting rid of
because
Erica.
They're like,
mainly
look
Danny
at
and
her
Deshawn.
doing this plan, and I'm like, so she can't even you can't even play. You play and it could hurt. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy, but.
But it's so interesting that Erica's really not done anything. Like, this is like the first time she's like,
really done anything. But
and then they're like, dude, we gotta get Erica out. I'm like, Shan's been doing this for weeks,
and
you
guys
are
were
cool
chilling.
Days, not weeks. I forget.
Yeah,
this
that's
is only
true.
like
this is
a
day
month
19
long.
Or whatever.
Yeah. So.
But yeah,
we're also coming up close. I forget. There's only
7 left.
Yeah. And that means that
Unless
typically there's like 13
episodes
episodes in like
right?
a season. Like there's not. We're already on 10.
That's crazy.
We're getting close to the end.
That's crazy.
And
I'm gonna be sad because I'm loving it, but it's
we
so
go to
good.
tribal.
And I want to see what happens.
We go to tribal.
Exactly what they wanted to happen happened, and then the minute that happened, Shan was like,
the minute it became
knew.
A tie, Shan knew she was going.
And then
out.
once it was a tie, she was like, "Oh, I'm 100% going. This was the plan." And this is what also made me feel better about Ricard doing it. Is she said,
as she's going to get up to leave,
you just earned my vote for $1 million.
Deshawn, you're a snake.
You're a snake. Yeah.
And I was like,
and she was like, and that's on period.
And she hugged Liana. She like was holding hands with Ricard as the votes were being counted. So like when I was seeing that, I was like,
and even him,
it's
when
a
they
good
showed,
move, but
when
it's
they
like,
showed him voting, he said, "We did say that we were gonna have to do this eventually. I'm sorry."
Yeah, it wasn't like I got the best of you, Shan.
No,
bye.
It was like very, commendable. Even though at first I was like, rude.
He has a very calm demeanor about him.
God, he just has a way of winning me over in a weird way because I did not
want
like him
Ricard
at
to
first.
win.
Now
I want Ricard to win.
But then like there's times where
but
I'm
then
just like,
there's also
Xander,
and also Erica. At this point, I'm
Erica's
like, Erica could come up.
She's just.
I mean, Erica's like target is huge because of the whole flip vote, and now the fact that most of those people that she flipped the vote on are still here.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I think it was a very interesting episode. Definitely not what I was thinking when it started. It completely it went from Ricard to being in jeopardy to Erica to Liana to Shan, and like Xander
got worried. He was like, "I'm gonna use my idol."
Xander was like,
he actually
never brought up this entire episode.
But I think he really was nervous.
He was nervous for sure, but I feel like that's just because he was brought up like this plan, and then
I think also because he almost won immunity and he didn't. So then he was like, "Oh shit, they're gonna try."
This is another like tribal council where they don't try to flesh out Xander's idol. It's like, dude, you can have whatever plan you want, but like, do Xander first. Like, get rid of his idol, because if he wins immunity, that's now 2 tribal councils. He will not be eligible, and it's like, dude, there's 7 people left in this game, and he's now the only person with the idol. I think
that's also probably why Ricard did Shan, even though it felt a little early. We have to remember it's not that early, and he needed to do it. Yeah. So,
this was
God,
such a great episode.
So good, so much.
I'm loving Ricard, loving Xander, and honestly, everyone else too. Erica, Heather, like Deshawn, Danny.
Heather doesn't
even
do
though
much
they don't get much screen time.
Heather just doesn't do much for me. I feel like she is like almost like a.
She's just there.
No, like an obligatory like floater.
She's
like
getting.
That person
I forgot
that
what
has
the
to still
edit
be there
was.
with no threat.
Well, she's also not getting any airtime. When like clearly she's like,
so
I forgot what the term is.
Her.
I know that there's a term for this in Survivor.
She feels like
please let me know, because I'm completely like
the terms. I know nothing.
There's a term where like you get completely hidden by like the editing on Survivor, and everyone gets pissed and they're like, show us more of them. Like,
almost
it's
like
already
a shadow
this far.
ban.
Yeah, it's like
you're there, but
it's
you're
like,
not there.
It's like Jen on Big Brother 14. Like, no coverage whatsoever. Maybe a diary room here and there to be like, here we go, baby. Like, now it's Big Brother. Like,
I know.
It's like, show Heather. Like, she's obviously having conversations with Erica.
She
like,
has to, yeah, because they're like...
No confessional from her at all? Like, come on. Like, they asked her, like, one question.
She even got to have the pizza party. The only part they gave her was when Shan was going... But I also think that was an over edit. I think she was like making sound, but not that sound but we were supposed to think it was that sound to think that she was turning on Ricard because of what she said in the past. But it sounded like they added that auto on there, but she was doing something that made her say something. That's the only part they let Heather say anything, and she was like, oh, nothing. And Heather's like, oh, okay.
I would like to add Ricard's reasons for getting rid of Shan also date back to when Shan was pressing him on all the powers and stuff. I feel like Ricard kind of let that go, but didn't forget it.
I would have kept that in my back pocket.
It wasn't mentioned, but that definitely had it.
I feel like it had to. Yeah, because that was a huge thing.
That's this episode of Survivor.
So,
another great episode. I don't know if it's my favorite, but
I don't know if it's
nothing
my favorite,
will ever top that episode.
Yeah, that's
episode
true.
7.
Oh, so good, so good. But it's just so, I don't know. It's just so many.
I'm so invested.
Feelings, and I'm so invested.
I'm like, every time it comes on, I'm like, guys.
I'm like, kids, shut
quiet,
up.
Please. I need to focus on this.
Like, and I like just want to soak up everything. I'm like, more.
I hope Ricard doesn't go though.
I really hope he doesn't. I really hope they get like Danny or Erica or somebody like that that's good, but I feel like I'd rather have someone like that good go than Ricard or something.
I also would like to point out, I don't think Ricard makes the plan to get rid of Shan if he doesn't win immunity. I think Deshawn goes.
You mean get rid of?
I think Ricard doesn't come up with like the plan to get rid of Shan if he doesn't win immunity. It's the fact that he's safe and he knew the plan.
Oh, that I thought you were saying like for next week. I'm like, she's already gone.
No, I'm saying for this week.
Yeah,
if he didn't win immunity, Shan would have still been here and Deshawn would have gone home. I think
because he would have needed her help. And at this point, he didn't need her help. He was good this week. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. We could keep going on and on, but we already have like a 30-minute video for the challenge, which I'm shocked we talked that much about it. And then we have tomorrow. We're gonna have All Stars season 2 episode.
But it will be on Zoom.
Yeah, we'll be on Zoom because he's driving back tomorrow.
It's also Thanksgiving tomorrow, so
it might
have
be
a great
late.
Thanksgiving.
But everyone have a happy Thanksgiving and like, comment, share, subscribe.